All right, we are live. I'm Greg with Apple Explained. Welcome to this week's live stream. I made it just in time. I literally walked in my front door like 3 minutes ago. I just came back from pizza with the family, just like every Saturday night. Got our Apple TV background going there. I think the whale is going to be with us all night, just like the last couple weeks. The chat is disabled. Why is the chat disabled? Let me get that figured out. Enable live chat. Okay, I just enabled the live chat, so try refreshing the page or something. You should see the live chat there. Let me double check just to make sure it worked. Okay, we have the live chat. Slow mode is on. Cyrus said LOL. I think I was in a rush. So I was trying to enable slow mode, and the slow mode check mark is right below the live chat check mark. So I think I accidentally unchecked the live chat and then checked the slow mode. Anyway, we got that taken care of. Already have almost 100 people watching right now. Actually, just went over 100. Thank you guys so much for being with us tonight. I already have some questions coming in. Let me just remind everybody what's going on. So this is a live chat. You ask me questions about YouTube, about Apple, about my life. I'll answer them, obviously. There's a lot of people asking questions. So here's how you get your question answered. You can send a live chat. It'll highlight your question. It's a donation through the chat box. And then it'll prioritize your questions, so I'll answer it first. If you don't want to do that, you can join our Discord server. I think Daniel and Alex is with us tonight so far. They're our moderators. They will post a link to our Discord server in the live chat. You click that invitation link, you accept it, and then after this live stream ends, everybody gets to ask one question per person on Discord. I'll answer all those questions in a Q&A video exclusively for Discord members after this live stream ends. This live stream is going to be an hour long, so it's going to be from 9 p.m. to 10 p.m. Eastern time. Thank you for joining us. Let's start answering questions. Gedauji said, what's your opinion on Apple's Chinese market? Well, I'm glad you asked, because I actually just did a video. I've just put out a video today that I'm really proud of. I worked really hard on it. It was kind of a difficult video to make, but I talk about the Chinese market. I also talk about the India market, but I kind of focus on the Chinese market. There's a lot of interesting things happening, lots of interesting dynamics right now, especially with the trade problem between the US and Chinese government. So it's a very complicated market. Apple's been trying to increase their presence in China since about 2015, but they weren't very successful at it until recently. I think the iPhone 11 is what helped push Apple further into the Chinese market. Although they're not where they want to be, obviously there's a lot of improvements to be made. But if you want more information, make sure you watch the video I posted today called Apple's iPhone 11 Success. Daniel, thank you for posting the link to Discord for me, and thank you for moderating tonight. Also, Alex, thank you for being here and moderating. I appreciate your guys' help. John said, would you ever do a giveaway, Greg? I probably would never do one. I think I did one once. It was very small, and it was like probably over a year ago, because it was a sponsored video. And the sponsor sent me, I think, like 2 extra products. So I just mailed them out to a couple people who commented on that video. But I don't do giveaways. I don't really like the idea of it. I don't like that someone wins and then everyone else like loses. I don't think it's exciting. I would rather, I don't know. I think there are other more exciting things to do. For example, I would like to do a meetup sometime. If there are many people that live in the central Ohio area or would travel to Ohio to meet me, and I can get like a sizable group of people, I would like to do a meetup. I think that would be a lot more valuable than something like a giveaway. Alex said, Greg, where is your boyfriend? My boyfriend is in Tokyo, Japan, and I am in Columbus, Ohio. The best donkey in the world said, when's the video with Daiki? Okay, I know that when I made that post, I said he might be in a future live stream, and I said might because it's up to him. But if that were to happen, I would have to be in Tokyo, or he would have to be in Columbus, and that doesn't happen very often. So it would be in the near future, maybe a few months from now, that he would be able to be in a live stream. But I'm glad you guys are interested. Christopher Dixon coming in with our first super chat of the night. That's a $5 super chat. Thank you very much, Christopher. I appreciate you being here, and it's good to see you this week. Chris said, what types of video topics are easier to make versus harder to make, like today's video on the market in China? Yeah, today's video was hard because there was a lot of different topics kind of in one topic. I mean, I didn't only talk about the iPhone 11. That was sort of near the second, third of the video, or the last third of the video. Near the beginning, I was talking about Apple's struggles with slowing hardware sales as far back as 2016. I was also talking about trouble in emerging markets, trouble in China, trouble in India, and how Apple was struggling to achieve more sales in those markets. I also talked about different phones. I talked about the XR, how unsuccessful that was. It was a little bit successful, but not as successful as Apple wanted. I talked about the iPhone 8. There was sort of a lot of different mini topics in this one video. So there was a lot of research I had to do across many different subjects. And to bring all that information together in a cohesive script that makes sense as I'm talking about it, it was really difficult. And actually, I got 900 words into the video. Actually, if you guys saw my Instagram post, I posted a photo of my setup when I'm writing my script. So if you want to see how I write my scripts, make sure you go follow me on Instagram because I have a picture of that on there. I actually don't even use my computer anymore to write my scripts, but you'll see what it looks like. I was 900 words into that script, and actually the web page that you see in that photo on Instagram, I was reading through that article. I thought I was going to use that information. I wrote 100 words based on that information. I realized it didn't even make sense what I was writing when you consider the main point I was trying to make in today's video. So I had to delete all that, find more information that was more relevant. So those topics that get very specific across a range of subjects is hard. It's a lot easier with a subject like, I don't know if you guys remember why Android users hate Apple or something like that. It was Android users have to stop hating on Apple or something like that. That was really easy to make because I already had a lot of ideas and points that I wanted to make just off the top of my head. And those are the topics where I can just start typing and I can keep typing and keep typing. It's almost like the script starts forming itself in my mind and I know what points I want to make before I even type them. So those scripts can kind of write themselves, at least most of the way. Doll Bananas said, what is the picture hanging up above your couch? Yeah, this photo, I got it from World Market. It was kind of expensive, but it's pretty big. I don't know if you can tell. I mean, it's probably 5 or 6 feet. I mean, probably 5 feet long, and 4 feet high. It's just an abstract painting on a canvas. I don't think it's an actual painting, but it looks like one. And I think it's really cool. And it has a nice little frame around it, but it's just a decorative painting that I got from World Market. Let me make sure I didn't miss any live chats. We have quite a few live chats tonight. Thank you very much, you guys. I appreciate it. The next live chat is, not live, super chat. I'm sorry, give me 1 second. I forgot my big jug. I need my water. Give me 1 second. It's actually empty, so I have to fill it up real fast. Sorry about that. As I said, I was in a rush coming home to start this live stream. I didn't want to start late, because I don't like starting late for you guys. All right. So our next super chat is from Jonathan Blake. Thank you for that $5 super chat, Jonathan. I really appreciate it. It's very generous. Also, bonus points if anyone can tell me where this shirt is from. Does anyone recognize this hoodie? Jonathan said, what are your thoughts on Apple's prototyping process, especially with the first gen iPad that came up on Twitter? I don't know what you're referring to on Twitter, but I do remember some prototype iPads that leaked. I think one of them was sold on eBay for $6,000 or $8,000. and it had like a charging connector on the bottom and the side, and it had like the Launchpad, like a prototype Launchpad software on it. I mean, I think it's cool. I think Apple's I honestly don't know much about their prototyping process. They don't reveal that much information about it, but I don't think it's that much different than other companies. I just think Apple does a really good job at paying attention to details that most other companies don't care much about. Maybe some people are paying attention to it, but they just don't invest the extra resources and money in fixing them or getting something just right. So I think it's interesting just to see like what Apple was considering when they were conceiving of the iPad, and then what they finally put out at the end. That's always interesting to hear. The next super chat is from Michael Hirschkind. Thank you, Michael, for that $2 super chat. I really appreciate it. Michael said, do an evolution on iPod, iPad, and iPhone all in one. I thought about doing like history of all Apple products and literally do every Apple product in like a slideshow thing. The problem is, I don't think people want to sit through like 15 minutes of a slideshow. I think those videos do really well when they're kind of in bite-sized pieces, like maybe 4 or 5, maybe 6 minutes long. That's kind of the sweet spot of those videos. And the ones that do really well are usually a little bit shorter. The ones that don't do so well are usually on the longer side. Plus, it's just better for me in terms of my channel performance and in terms of money, making money, if I can separate those videos into an iPod video, an iPad video, and an iPhone video, because those 3 separate videos will make more money than just one video altogether. And I also think it's just better for the viewer. Like, okay, this is history of the iPad. It's just more specific and people know what they're getting into when they click on the video, rather than just a whole bunch of random Apple products at once. But I have thought of that, Michael. All right, I'm gonna see if anyone guessed my, yes, okay, I saw Douglas Lynn said Shane Dawson. Yes, this is exclusive Shane Dawson merch. And I don't know if you guys know, but Shane Dawson's favorite pop is Diet Root Beer. And it just so happens that my favorite pop is Diet Root Beer. So when I found out he liked Diet Root Beer, I was like, oh my God, I can't believe we have that in common. And then the other day, I saw he came out with this merch that said Diet, and it had like the root beer graphic on it. And I was like, oh my God, I love that. I need that hoodie. It's so cool. Seon YT said, hey Greg, do you think the Apple TV HD will still be supported in more TV OS versions? I really hope so, because I have an Apple TV HD. Is that the first gen Apple TV? Is that I mean, it's not the first gen. It's probably the first gen, second gen, the second gen or the third gen maybe. Because I think starting with the fourth, it was 4K. I don't know. I mean, the Apple TV is still fairly new. I mean, we're only in the 4th generation. And it's technically not really the 4th. It's technically more like the 3rd generation, because the original Apple TV was kind of a completely different animal than when they completely they re-strategized with the Apple TV when they came out with the 2nd version. They moved from like local storage-based content and streaming to like online streaming with the 2nd gen. So no one really knows how long that 2nd gen Apple TV is going to be supported, but I think they're going to try to support it as long as possible, just like they do with most of their products, like the iPhone and iPad. They really try to support it as long as possible, and they do a lot better job at it than other tech companies. Arthur said, you know, this is funny. This was like the most upvoted comment on the photo of Daiki and I on my Instagram. I think it was Instagram. Someone said, is he team Android or team iOS? And I think Arthur just asked me the same thing. Is Daiki Android or iOS? Daiki is not really into technology. He doesn't really, he doesn't follow technology. And everything is kind of new to him. Like, he just told me recently that when I first used Siri around him, he was like so impressed. He was like, you mastered Siri. I couldn't believe it. So that kind of technology, even though Siri is from the iPhone 4S, which is like how many years ago? Like 6 years ago, 7 years ago? Even though that technology is so old, there are people who don't follow technology and they don't buy new things unless that thing they're using is completely broken. Like, completely broken. And even then, they'll probably buy something cheap and used that's 5 years old anyway, so they're not really up to date with the newest stuff. So he is Team Android. I don't even know if he knows he's Team Android. Like, he may just think, he has a smartphone. I don't know he probably doesn't know what OS it is. Maybe he does. But I told him, look, you're dating Apple Explained. We have got to get you transitioned to Team iOS because we cannot, we cannot be on Team Android at all. Harrison Chen said, what microphone do you use for your videos? I use a Rode mic. It's their USB mic. I think that they only have one USB mic. If not, it's their most expensive one. It's really good though. I'm really impressed by it. It's a lot better than the Blue Yeti I had. Simply Sarah, nice to see you this week, Sarah. I'm looking forward to your good questions. You always ask great questions. Sarah said, do you think Apple will hold a March event this year? And if so, what will they announce? Yeah, I really think they're going to hold a March event. We'll probably hear about it within the next 1 to 2 weeks. They'll probably send out invitations. I think we're going to see a budget iPhone like the iPhone SE2 or the iPhone 9, whatever we're going to call it. I think we're going to see the AirTags. We may see like a MacBook Air update. We may, maybe not. That might be in the summer. But I do think we're going to see a couple new things. I feel like I'm forgetting something, but I know for sure, I'm sure that AirTags will be released and the budget iPhone. I think those are going to be the two big things. Alec Dukes said, will Apple make over-ear headphones? That's a good question. I just saw a rumor today, you guys probably did too, that someone found, there was a listing on Target's website. I think it was Target. There was a listing for like Apple X generation over-ear headphones. And it was only up for a second and then they removed it. So it was a mistake. Now, there was also other listings up there that were also kind of Apple related, but they were also had strange names. So I don't think the name is going to be, I don't think X generation is going to be the name of Apple's headphones if they do come out with the over-ear version. But I think they're working on them. I think they're trying to find a way to differentiate their model from the competition. Because so far with the AirPods, they have done a fantastic job, Apple has, at just creating a signature experience that's built in perfectly to iOS, that's unrivaled by any other tech company. That with their design, with the battery life, with the size, the compact size, the sound quality, the noise canceling technology on the AirPods Pro. I've never seen a wireless earbud that had that level of noise canceling on it before. So I'm really interested in what they're going to do with over-ear headphones if they do release them. Supposedly they're going to cost $400, which it does sound about right. Bose just came out with their new QC headphones. They cost $400. But they're really going to have to have some special feature about them that will motivate people to spend $400 on some headphones. Especially considering they're big and bulky, so I have to have a reason to wear big and bulky headphones over my compact, comfortable AirPods Pro. So they really have to do something to differentiate that model, and I'm not sure what they're going to do. Will Catcher 2, WTK Productions. Thank you for that $2 super chat. Will did not ask anything with that super chat. I just appreciate that. You can ask me a question if you want to, Will. Joan asked, do you think Apple will include the new 100 times zoom and 64 megapixel cameras in their new iPhones? No. Look, I don't know if you guys remember this, but I think like 4 or 5 years ago, Nokia came out with a phone. I don't know if it was the Nokia Lumia, which is no longer being sold. They came out with a Nokia that had a 48 megapixel lens. And that was during a time when like, I think 3 or 4 megapixels was the standard. Maybe 8 was the standard. But they came out with this 48 megapixel camera and supposedly it was all the rage. The problem is putting more megapixels in a camera system does not necessarily mean you're getting a better quality picture. It just means you're getting a larger picture. So yeah, you're getting a larger picture. You can zoom in closer, but as you zoom in, you're going to notice the noise. You're going to notice the clarity is bad. You're going to notice that it's not a quality photo. So my question is, what's the point of having a large photo if it's not good quality? I would rather have a smaller photo that's sharper, that has better color accuracy, that has more definition than a larger photo. So I think the whole megapixel number is a marketing gimmick. I mean, Nokia has used it, Microsoft used it on their phones when they sold them. Again, they're discontinued. Samsung is using it. They've used that for a while. They say X number of megapixels and act like it's incredible. I think talking about the zoom though, the 100 times zoom, not the megapixels, because there is that 108 megapixel camera system on the S20 Ultra. I think you're talking about that zoom feature. I would like a zoom feature. But again, if you look at that zoom feature, the quality isn't that good. So yes, it's great to have that. I just want to make sure that it's executed in a way that is functional. You know, like if the photo quality is so bad that I might as well not even have taken the photo, then that feature is not very useful for me. So I would like to see maybe like a 4 times or 5 times zoom, but I really, really want an optical zoom, because once you start getting into that digital zoom, that's when the photo loses its quality. Amber Glover said, will you do any more unboxing videos? Yes, I would like to do more unboxing videos. I just haven't had anything to unbox, to be honest. I did the AirPods Pro when I bought those. That video did pretty well. I haven't really bought anything since then that I would really want to review. Usually I just do them when I get a sponsor. So if someone sends me a pair of headphones, or if someone sends me an accessory that I think is cool, that, I mean, if I want to use it, then I think you guys might be interested in using it. Then I'll make an unboxing video. Or if I love a product so much that I want to talk about it, like with the AirPods Pro, then I make a video. It's not really something that I do regularly. Sarisa said, how is the iPhone 11 display? Well, the iPhone 11 display is LCD. It's not OLED like on the 11 Pro models, but I think most people, first of all, I think most regular people who are not into technology, if you show them the 11 Pro and the 11 and you say which display is better, they would probably say, I can't tell a difference. And even people like me and you, if you're into technology, yes, you can probably tell a difference when you look at them side by side. But once you start using the display on its own and you kind of forget the deep blacks of an OLED display, you get used to it. And it's not an impediment on your experience, I don't think. I mean, I use my iPad, which has an LCD display, And I don't think, oh man, I really missed that OLED display on my phone, because I kind of can't tell that much of a significant difference just using it day to day. So yeah, I think it's a good quality LCD display when it comes to LCD technology. And most people think it's just fine. Paul Collins said, how does the iPhone upgrade program work? This is actually a good idea, because I've wondered this myself. If you guys don't know, Apple does like the iPhone upgrade, I think it's called iPhone upgrade program. And it's where you pay a certain amount every month. So you're technically leasing a phone. You don't own the phone. But every year you get your phone replaced with the newest version of the iPhone without having to pay anything extra. You just get the new model. But you keep paying that monthly fee. I don't know if it's $35, $40. It probably depends which phone you choose. I looked into this to see if it was actually a good deal. And this is pretty much the conclusion I came to, and this is what other people told me, people who know more about this than I do. They said it's only a good deal. You're only saving money if you buy a phone every year and you buy it with Apple Care. So if you buy a new phone every year and you get Apple Care every year, then you would save money by using that program. But if not, then it's more affordable to buy a phone every couple years or every few years. Even with Apple Care every couple years, you'd still be saving money than paying that amount every month with the iPhone upgrade program. I just got a $15 super chat from Keenan Reisinger. Thank you very much, Keenan. I appreciate that. That's very generous. $15. It's been a while since I've gotten that much. Keenan said 2 questions. For $15, I'll let you ask 2 questions. What was your first 2 iPhones? Oh no, sorry. What was your first iPhone and or really any Apple product that started your passion of Apple products? That was not the iPhone. My first Apple product when I fell in love with Apple was the iPod Video, or the 5th gen iPod, back in 2005. And I think I was 12 or 13 years old when I fell in love with Apple. And lastly, do you attend Apple events or CES shows? No, I do not. I've never been to an Apple event. I always wanted to. I thought maybe one day Apple would invite me, but then I found out that even if you're invited, you have to pay your way. You have to pay for the ticket, you have to pay for your flight, and you have to pay for your hotel. Apple doesn't cover anything. Maybe I'm wrong, but that's what I heard from, I don't think it was iJustine. I forget who told me that, but someone said, no, you have to pay for everything yourself, which kind of sucks. It makes me kind of not want to go. I mean, Apple is the richest company in the world, or one of the richest in the world, and you can't pay to have people promote your stuff? I don't know. It's kind of weird. Whale Catcher 2 WTK Productions coming in again with another $5 super chat. Actually, I think your first one was $2. Thank you for your second super chat, Will. $5, really appreciate it. Will said, what do you think about Apple's future now that Jobs and Ive are no longer there? That's a great question. I remember when I was younger, I don't know, 15 or 16, and I was just thinking, man, it is inevitable that one day Steve Jobs will no longer be at Apple, but even if Steve Jobs isn't there, at least we still have Jonathan Ive, because Jonathan Ive is really, the heart and soul of the design language at Apple. But I can't imagine what would happen if we lost Jonathan Ive. I had that feeling when I was younger. And I just kind of realized a company is made up of hundreds of people. It's not made up of one person. It's not made up of 2 people or 3 people. It's made up of a team. And the turnover rate of Apple's design team is interesting. People have come and gone from Apple's design team. Not that many, but still it has. Yet it's remained consistent in their product design throughout the years. And I think the same can be said as Jonathan Ive leaves. Even under Jonathan Ive, Jonathan Ive goes back to before Steve Jobs came back to Apple. Jonathan Ive was not hired by Steve Jobs. He was already there when Steve Jobs returned in 1996. So he's been responsible for a lot of design transitions in Apple's history. We used to have the Snow White era. Before that, it was the beige era. Now we're in this aluminum era. And we're going to keep seeing these transitions in design. Just because we're having a transition in Jonathan Ive isn't technically working for Apple, it doesn't mean it's a bad transition. I want to say that. Also, I also want to make it clear that even though Jonathan Ive is not working for Apple, he is a client. Apple is a client of Jonathan Ive because he now has his own design studio called Love From, and Love From's first client is Apple. So he still has an influence, a say in the design team at Apple. But I think Apple's going to be just fine. Just fine. Brandon Crabtree, thank you for that $2 super chat. Brandon said, love the Shane merch. Thank you. I love it too. Thoughts on an iOS redesign? Yeah, I do have a couple thoughts. I would like to have a redesign where you get more information in an icon. Because right now, icons are kind of static. There's only a few that are like update. I think Calendar is like a live update app. And the time, it gives you live updates of what time it is. But when you look at like the Mail app or the Messages app or what else? There was something else. What was it that I thought they should really have? Oh, I forget. But they can give you little previews of content. I think they can give you a little preview of something that might be relevant. I don't know exactly. I don't really know what I'm talking about. I just feel like there's something they can do with the extra space. Because if you look at this, I mean, look, here's the home screen on an iPad, and you got all this extra space. And I know if I do this, you know, they kind of made some progress over on this side because you get some information here. But I just feel like there's something they can do. They can make the apps more dynamic or something. I don't know. I would like to see something like that. The Natural KV said, so like Live Tiles. Yeah, I know Live Tiles was on Windows. I don't know if Apple doesn't do that because it's bad for battery life. I don't really know. Maybe it's not even useful. I don't know. Uh-oh, someone said I missed a super chat. Hold on, let me. Ooh, I hope I didn't miss a super chat. Marco Freoni, I think that's what I missed. Thank you for that $2 super chat, Marco. They said, how is the double HomePod setup next to your TV? It's great. As you can see, I have two HomePods. I have one right here and I have one right here. I used to only have one, and then I use my HomePod like sometimes, but now I use my HomePod daily. I love the stereo sound. It really transforms the experience. I feel like the bass and the treble is more equal. I feel like the bass was a little too much when I had only one, but now that I have two, I feel like the treble is coming out a little more and it sounds better. Also, I got rid of my sound bar. I no longer needed one because I can connect my Apple TV to my HomePods. And when you're watching a movie with those two HomePods, you get that deep like rumble bass of all the sound effects in the movie. And it's just like a movie theater and it's so cool. It sounds so good. So I didn't need my my sound bar anymore, which is nice because it saves me some space. If I missed a super chat, please let me know. Like tell me, like copy and paste the super chat in your message because I think Marco was the one I missed. I just want to make sure I don't miss any more. Tech Info said, who launched first truly wireless earphones? I mean, I'm sure there was a company who tried to do it before Apple. I'm pretty sure Apple wasn't the first one to actually launch truly wireless earbuds, but no one actually was able to do it well. I actually think I remember Unbox Therapy, Lou, was doing a review of truly wireless earbuds, maybe before the AirPods even. And he could barely get, I think it took him like 15 minutes to get them connected properly to each other and then to get both headphones connected properly to his phone. And he just said how much of a pain it was going through that whole operation just to get them to work correctly. And even then he was having syncing issues. So the technology was not done properly until Apple did it. That I can tell you for sure. The Gaming Squad said they're usually at school when I'm live. Do you go to school at 9 p.m. on Saturday nights? If you do, I really feel bad for you. Mike Likes to Game said, I know someone has already asked, but what is your PC specs? My computer, which is a MacBook Pro 15-inch 2017 Space Gray model, it is the base model. It's the base model of the 15-inch at the time. So it's like a 2.4 gigahertz i7 processor, i7 I think. And the RAM is 16 gigabytes. I would like to get that up to 32 in my next computer. And what really sucks is, what's nice is I have discrete graphics since it's a 15-inch model. The problem is the storage space. It's 256 gigabytes solid state drive, which is not enough when you're doing video creation. Each project I make is like 1.5 to 2 gigabytes. So I do like at least one video a week, so you can see how quickly that adds up. So I had to buy one external hard drive to put all of my video projects onto. I bought a 1 terabyte hard drive. So in my next computer, I want more RAM, I want better graphics, and I want a 2 terabyte internal hard drive. That would be really nice. Someone said, I missed a super chat from Ben. Can someone please copy and paste the super chat from Ben? Because I can only go up so far on this live chat. I can only go up so far. It doesn't let me go up anymore, so I cannot see what Ben said. I apologize, Ben. Ben, if you're hearing this, please post your question. You don't have to super chat again. Just post your question and I'll try to catch it. Alec Dukes said, can you give me good tips on growing my channel? Okay, wait, hold on. Let me hold off on that. Ink Coming said, Ben sent a super chat of $2. Thank you, Ben, for that $2 super chat. I appreciate it. Ben said, has Apple let software lag too much, like iLife and iWork? I don't think so. I just think they're not as focused on it as they are on other parts of their software, like their operating systems. But I would like to see more significant updates more often. I mean, because you probably remember, how many years ago? 10 years ago, maybe? Apple was updating iLife and iWork every year, and they were pretty significant updates, just like with their operating system. They don't do that anymore. I just think because their focus is shifting. I mean, iLife and iWork used to cost money. You used to pay like $70, $60, or $80, somewhere around there, for the iLife suite, and then another $60, $70, $80 for the iWork suite. I remember because I bought it. So I think people expected updates. Now that it's all free, I don't think Apple really has much of an incentive to keep updating them too much. They do still release updates, but not as significant and not as frequently as they used to. And also, whoever asked me tips for growing their channel, here are my tips. You have to be specific on what videos you're making. Make sure you're making unique videos. If you can find someone else making the same exact videos you're making, probably won't do very well. Especially if you're trying to like copy MKBHD, or you're trying to copy me, or you're trying to copy iJustine. Usually copying people is a bad idea. You really have to think of a video that you want to watch that you cannot find on YouTube. And you have to think about how you're going to execute it really well to make sure you get that video that you want to watch. Because if you want to watch a video really badly that you can't find and you can make it and show other people, most likely other people will want to watch that too. And since you're the only one making it, they have to watch yours, and then you can kind of get some attention that way. That's how my channel got popular, so that's my advice. But don't just try to copy people. Oh, Darth Sidious said, what are your thoughts on the report from Bloomberg that Mark Gurman... Oh, I had a super chat. Dang it. Mark Gurman said in the next update... Did Ben send another $2? Ben, you didn't have to send another $2. I appreciate that, Ben. He just repeated his question. I appreciate that, Ben. You can ask another question if you want with no super chat. There was another super chat. I am losing my place. You guys are very generous tonight. Sam Wilson, thank you for that $1 super chat. Sam did not ask a question, but I appreciate the support, Sam. And now we're on to someone who asked me about Apple letting users choose default apps in iOS 14. Yes, that's a huge deal. It's about time. I cannot believe Apple has gotten away so long without letting users choose default apps. What that means, a default app means, let's say I use Google Maps a lot. But when I tap on an address in iMessage, it automatically takes me to Apple Maps. So I want to set Google Maps as my default app so that when I tap on an address, it automatically takes me to Google Maps and not Apple Maps. Currently, you cannot do that with iOS. You can do that with Android. You've been able to do that with Android for a long time, but you can't on iOS. I would like to see that, definitely. There were also some rumors that Apple is opening up Spotify on HomePod, so that you can use HomePod, you can use Spotify natively on the HomePod, which I would love. I would love that. Paul A, thank you for that $5 super chat. I really appreciate that, Paul. They said, how is the Apple Card? Are you using it a lot? Are you getting a lot of cash back? Yes, I am. I love my Apple Card, but keep in mind, I've never had a credit card before this. So even the credit card experience is new to me. So that's also part of the allure of how this is cool. It's cool that you can buy something and not have to pay for it until a month and a half away. That's kind of incredible. But here's what I like. I know the cash back is just standard. There's nothing special about Apple's rewards program. But here's what is kind of special, is that usually when you earn cash back, you have to wait until the end of the billing cycle to get that cash. But with the Apple Card, you get it once the transaction clears. So if it takes 1 day to clear, you get that 1% or 2% or 3% cash back immediately, which is nice. I mean, if you have a lot of cash back and you can use it for things. I love the tracking of my spending. I used to manually track all my spending. It would take hours every week. This does it all automatically. It shows me charts. It shows me all the transactions. It shows me the different categories of what I was spending my money on, the trends from one month to another month. I mean, it's just so much information that I really like to see. Yeah, so I really like my Apple Card. For some reason, when I use it, it's I don't have to sign, and I don't have to put in a PIN number. People get confused. I use my Apple Card and then they're like, okay, sign here, but then there's nowhere to sign because I don't have to sign. I don't know what's up with that, but it makes buying stuff really easy. I don't have to put in a PIN. I can just bada bing, bada boom, and the transaction is done, which I really like. Okay, first let me make sure I didn't miss a super chat. Okay, I don't think I did. Okay, we just got another super chat. But there's a question I wanted to answer, and I can't find it. Someone asked me, what was your experience at the beginning like? I don't know what you're talking about. My experience on YouTube at the beginning, my experience of Apple at the beginning. If you can clarify that, I would like to answer that question. Ibrahim Abueda, thank you for that $5 super chat. I really appreciate that. Ibrahim asked, video on why Apple created a separate OS for the iPad. I mean, I could make a video about that. The thing is, it's not technically a separate operating system. It's just iOS with extra features optimized for a larger display. I mean, that sums up the whole video right there. I don't know if there's much to talk about. I guess I could talk about it. I don't know how interesting of a video it would be. I don't know if I would have enough content to make it interesting. But it's more of a marketing thing. Like iPad OS, it's just a marketing term just to tell people that it's not exactly the same as iOS on the iPhone. They have kind of a different experience, but the underlying technology is the same. Okay, now I think people are trolling me. People are saying I missed super chats, and I don't think I did. They're just trolling because they enjoy chaos. Complexion, thank you for that $2 super chat. They said, what can we expect from Apple's over-ear headphones? So I already said this earlier in the video. I don't know what to expect. To be completely honest, I have no idea. No one really knows. There haven't been that many rumors. All the rumors have been is like, yeah, there's probably going to be over-ear headphones from Apple, but we really don't know what they're going to be like. And they're probably going to cost $400. So if they're charging that much and they're going to be making them, there has to be some special feature that the AirPods and AirPods Pro doesn't have, or else why would Apple create them? Also, supposedly there's going to be AirPods Pro Lite. I don't know what AirPods Pro Lite is gonna do. Maybe it'll be like AirPods Pro without the noise canceling feature, and it'll be cheaper. Amber Glover said, "What was your first video you made on YouTube when you joined?" I made a little edit of the 2008 MacBook keynote. M Potatoes 16, thank you for that $5 super chat. That's very generous. Potatoes said, "Do you think MacBooks will switch from Intel to ARM?" I do think so. Also, will you make a video about Apple's ARM like their A series found on the iPhone 4 and iPad? I did. I made a video called History of Apple's Processor or something like that. You can watch that video. I think it's one of my more popular videos. But I do think Apple is going to try to make their own custom silicon for their computers, similar to what they do with their phones, their tablets, their watch. I think that's really how you optimize a product, a device, is by custom designing its processor. I don't know how soon we're going to see that. It might be in the next 3 years, maybe in the next 5 years. But I do think eventually they will switch. Chill Ease said, more history of videos. If so, what for? I will tell you right now, I have a list. I made a list of all the new smartphones coming out this year that I think will be like popular. And then from these smartphones, I'm gonna make history of videos, like the slideshow versions. So I did history of the Samsung Galaxy S, that was in February, I just made that like a week ago. History of the iPhone, I'm gonna do a new history of the iPhone in March when the new budget iPhone comes out. I'm gonna update that video. History of the history of the Huawei P series. I'm gonna make an update on that because the new smartphone is coming out in March, probably. History of the Galaxy Note, that will be updated in the summertime. That's when the next Note is expected. History of the Google Pixel in the summer, most likely. And then another history of the iPhone when the new iPhones come out at the end of this year. So that's what we have to look forward to when it comes to those videos. Now I think I have a super chat that I missed. Michael Brown, thank you for that $5 super chat. Michael said, do you think Apple will let people change default apps? If so, what do you think that would do to the ecosystem? I do think they're gonna let people choose default apps. I don't think it's gonna affect the ecosystem. I mean, I wouldn't say it's gonna affect the ecosystem. I think it's gonna make people a lot happier. I mean, I think most people won't even notice that that capability was added. Let's be honest. Most people will not need that feature, but the people who want it will be using it and they'll really appreciate having it. I don't think it's gonna like move people away from the Apple ecosystem. It's just it'll allow Apple products to be more convenient to use if we can set default apps. Brett Walton, thank you for that $2 super chat. Brett said, what do you think of the Apple TV remote? Man, you should ask my dad this question because he had a lot of trouble with the Apple TV remote. But I will say, there are a lot of people who hate the Apple TV remote, and I understand why. It can feel not as precise as like a button. And I don't think it's the most intuitive way to use a remote, especially coming from a traditional one. Like my dad was trying to like scrub through a video, like fast forward through something. So he would use his thumb, but then he was pressing on the trackpad to play the video. And when he would press down, the movement from his thumb would cause the position in the video to jump. So he would try to press it to play it, the video would jump to a different location and he would get frustrated. What he didn't realize is that instead of pressing on the trackpad, you should press the play pause button, and then that will play the video where you just put it. Now, how are people supposed to know that? You just have to figure it out. And that's the problem with the Apple TV remote. There's a lot of things you have to finagle and figure out along the way as you struggle with it for the first few weeks that you own it. But once you get used to it, I do think it's fine. It's fine. I'm not going to say it's a great remote, but I think it's fine. Brett Walton, thank you for that $2 super chat. Oh yeah, I already just covered that. Oh yes, Simply Sarah said maybe an iPad Pro update in March. Maybe yes, there may be an update in March of the iPad Pro also. I'm looking forward to that. Also, what is your favorite Steve Jobs movie or documentary? I like the Pirates of Silicon Valley. If you haven't seen that, I highly recommend it. Someone asked me about graphene batteries. I've been seeing some things about graphene batteries. I'm just gonna say this. I don't know the details, so maybe I shouldn't be even commenting on it until I educate myself. But I just feel like every so often we hear these reports of a new battery breakthrough or a new battery technology. And they never come to fruition. And it's usually because they don't make it past the mass production stage. It's very easy to take some chemicals and make a long-lasting, durable battery in one product, like literally a single product. But when you have to mass produce 10 million of them in a month, suddenly it's not such a feasible idea. So maybe graphene batteries can be scaled to millions of units. Maybe it's going to take a decade to get to that level of technology. I don't know exactly the situation, but we have not heard any rumors about a graphene battery in an Apple product. I don't think we're going to see them. But again, I do my own research and learn more about it. But I just feel like I've heard this story before. Michael Brown, thank you for that $2 super chat. Michael said, will you do a history of Google Pixel soon? Yes, I believe I just said that. It's on my list. History of the Google Pixel this summer. That's when we expect a new model. Amber Glover said, my biggest question ever, what was your first unboxing video? My first unboxing video. You know, you can just go to my channel and like sort by oldest and you can see like what my first video. To be honest, I don't remember. I think my first unboxing video was the Nintendo Switch. I think. I honestly don't remember. Tech Unboxed said, will you do a giveaway when you hit 500 subs? Not 500, 500,000 subs. I'm not going to do a giveaway, but I know that I have to, I want to do something. And I know I'm gonna try to do a live stream. I would like to be able to do a live stream like when we're at 499,000, and then like right when we break through the 500,000, I would like to be on live while that happens. That would be fun. But I also might announce something new, a new project that I've been thinking about for a while, but never thought I would actually do. But I think it might be the right time to do it when I have a channel with 500,000 subscribers. I'm still not 100% on it. I just talked with my family about it today. I'm still not 100% sure that I am going to go through with it. Still a lot I have to think about. But if I do decide to do it, I'm going to announce it during that live stream. I'm going to announce it when I get to 500,000 subscribers. So you may have that to look forward to. Nathan Han said, favorite S series iPhone model? That's a good question. I'm not really a big fan of any of them. Favorite S? Not the 10S, not the 3GS, maybe I think the 5S. I think the 5S was my favorite S upgrade. What did the 5S have? Was that the Touch ID? I think the 5S had Touch ID. That was a really good technology. Also, its design changed. Instead of having a diamond chamfered reflective edge, it had a matte edge. So they did change the design on that a little bit. And they used stronger aluminum so that it wouldn't. Oh no, that was the 6S. Was the 5S Touch ID? I don't even remember, but I think the 5S was my favorite. Keenan Reisinger, thank you again for that $5 super chat. I really appreciate it, Keenan. They said, how far out are we from an Apple foldable? Ooh. Okay, Keenan, I'll answer that question. I just have to mention this comment I just saw. Hamilton guy said, I'd say at 500,000 subs, I would get your logo tattooed. Oh, now it's not funny anymore. I thought he said he would get it tattooed on him. Get your logo tattooed on you, but you changed the logo too many times. Honestly, I think I'm gonna stick with this logo for a while. I really love this logo right now. Let me know what you guys think. Okay, but Keenan said, what did he say? I forgot already. How far are we from an Apple foldable? Pretty far. I think pretty far. I don't think they're going to be doing it anytime soon, the technology. I mean, have you read the quality issues, the durability issues on these two most recently released foldables, the Moto whatever and the Samsung Z whatever? The Samsung one, the Moto one, they're already having durability issues. I'm telling you, this folding technology is not ready. It is not ready for prime time. I've said it with the original Galaxy Fold. I said it with the Huawei one. I said it with the Motorola, and this next Samsung one, it's too soon. They're not doing it right. It's not executed correctly. It hasn't been proven as a reliable technology. I stand by my opinion on this. And I think Apple knows. That's why they're not releasing foldable iPhones. It's just, there's no functional benefit to a foldable iPhone unless you're saying, phones are too big that I want to fold it to put it in my pocket so it's easier to carry around. That's the only argument I can think of, unless you're taking the Samsung Fold route where you have a phone that's even bigger than a normal phone and then you want a tablet-sized display when you fold it out. That's its own thing I can talk about for a long time. I do not see the material functional benefits of a folding display yet. I do not see it. I think it's a huge risk with durability. They're not getting the technology right. It's not ready. They're jumping the gun and they're paying the price. That's my opinion. And Apple, I'm sure is exploring it, but they know that it's not ready. They know that the technology is not ready to be executed well. If Apple can execute it correctly, I trust that they would if they ever decided that it was a good approach. but I do not see any Apple foldable in the near future at all. Mobile Games Injustice said they're learning from other foldables to clear mistakes. I agree. Yeah, it is just about that time. It's officially 10 o'clock and time for me to sign off. Thank you guys so much. If you want to see my setup, I actually have a photo of my live stream setup on Discord. So make sure you join our Discord server. It's free. Just be 13 or older. And then if you want to see my my video typing setup, go to my Instagram. It's just search for Apple Explained. It'll pop up. And then my most recent photo is my little setup for how I type my scripts. You can see the whole process. Thank you guys so much for joining. Thank you for watching. Thank you for all the super chats. I really appreciate it. You guys were very generous tonight. Thank you, Alex. Thank you, Daniel, for moderating tonight. I really appreciate your guys' help. Don't forget, ask your one question on Discord on the after stream thread. I will be over there right after this stream ends, and I will answer all those questions in a Q&A video. I hope you guys have a great weekend. I will see you at the same time next week.